Points memo, how the left wants to handle tens of thousands of children illegally entering the USA.
Immigration's always been an issue that inflames passions. That's not surprising.
I think amnesty is a defining issue in this election. Barack Obama meant it when he said he wants to fundamentally transform this nation by letting millions of people in this country illegally from all over the world, making them citizens, and doing to America what was done to California.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. But
how are they going to compete in our competitive marketplace here? How? The answer is they're not going to compete. And it will take decades for most of them to be self-sufficient.
Websites that are calling this, I think it was Crooks and Liars had an article, like, oh, fascist immigration policy. Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
we have to make a whole new set of standards. And when people come in, they have to come in.
So you're going to split up families.
Chuck,
you're going to deport children.
Chuck, no, we're going to keep the families together. We have to keep the families together.
But you're going to keep them together out.
But they have to go.
What if they have no place to go?
We will work with them.
50,000 to 70,000 children, we actually can take care of them, and we always have enough money whenever somebody decides that we need to go invade a country in the Middle East. No one ever asks where that money's coming from. But you're going to tell me that we can't afford to pay for 50,000 children? I mean, come on, Bill.
The protesters were banging the American flag against the bus, screaming these racist taunts, and it was horrific to see because the children inside the bus and their moms were crying. They don't speak English, but they understand hate.
Immigration, every country has immigration laws and stuff like that, but I believe the deportation of people who have stayed here for a long time, I don't think it's right. It's not a right thing to do. As an immigrant, I don't think it's the right thing to do.
I don't necessarily want to come off as a bigoted zealot, being an immigrant myself, but it took a total of 9 years for my family to come in and for me to get my papers and Social Security. So I think everyone should go the legal route because welfare is fair in love and war. But with how it's being talked about, it's like you're giving amnesty to people who've done things illegally. And I understand that it's hard in other countries and it's difficult, but it's not fair to people who waited a decade to come in and then just be like, oh, we could have just, married in, divorced, and then just get amnesty anyway. So it's a double-sided coin. Like I want there to be an open opportunity for everybody to come in, but what's happening is not the answer.
People who come here to America, legally or illegally, there's good intent in that, and so I feel like by doing what Donald Trump says, just build a bigger wall isn't helping. It's not going to do any harm. It's going to do more harm than good, and so. But I also realize the other side of the argument where people want to say, well, they're bringing drugs into the country, they're doing this, they're doing that, but I'm just like, America's bad anyway, so I feel like, I don't know. I don't know. People want to come here to, start a new life. I don't see anything wrong with that, And I feel like from politicians, I don't know, whenever it's brought up in the news, I always feel like it's always just negative connotations, like, oh boy, what more, what next? And I don't think that's right. I feel like we should have more. I'm a compassionate person, so I feel like when it comes to matters like those, we should have a compassionate heart on. So.
Well, illegal immigration is, of course, a very hard topic for one, but I think it's something that we need to address right away, especially during these past few months with presidential candidates, especially candidates like Donald Trump and Carson. even Marco Rubio, saying that, okay, we need to either deport all of them back and they can come back the legal way, which is going through a process which can take even up to like more than 18 months. And what I think is we need to develop an immigration reform, and not the way of sending back immigrants and having them come back again, but rather make some sort of program like the DREAM Act and say, okay, you can stay here based on, you know, what your record is here, if you're going to school, if you're working, and that sort of stuff. And then from there we can go on towards a path of citizenship. So, I mean, the way the topic has been addressed, especially by members of the GOP, it's not the way to approach it. We need to approach it in a way where, okay, you're already here, why not start it here, you know? Why send them back?
Je peux que retransmettre, là j'ai des policiers, Est-ce que vous avez tous entendu?
Well, Bill O'Reilly asked me, is there a Muslim problem? And I said, absolutely yes.
And so, to the degree that anyone would equate the terrible actions that took place in Paris with the views of Islam, those kinds of stereotypes are counterproductive.
Not only does the Muslim world have something in common with ISIS, it has too much in common with ISIS.
Promote violence or peace. Islam is just a religion, and like every religion in the world, it depends on what you bring to it. If you're a violent person, your Islam, your Judaism, your Christianity, your Hinduism is going to be violent.
That if we wouldn't use that terminology and pulled back from the Middle East somewhat, perhaps they wouldn't hate us so much. Perhaps they wouldn't want to hit us. Perhaps there'd be some détente.
A prohibition on any funding that goes to fund new refugees coming into this country from Syria, because the truth is we have no idea who these people are.
As Americans, we will not succumb to racism. We will not allow ourselves to be divided and succumb to Islamophobia. And when hundreds of thousands of people have lost everything, have nothing left but the shirts on their backs, we will not turn our backs on the refugees from Syria and Afghanistan.
it is a huge violation because I mean everyone has the human right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Isn't that what Thomas Jefferson wrote in the Declaration of Independence when this country was established? So I mean, yeah, that's a huge
I think
violation.
it's kind of hypocritical when there's a push for immigration reform. So it definitely makes America look like hypocritical, one, and two, like they only want to impose civil rights, human rights on certain issues, and for other issues, it doesn't apply here. It doesn't matter, whatever. So I feel like it's very picky, choosy until who gets treated fairly and who doesn't. So
Yes and no. Basic human rights, yes, but it comes down to the legality and technicalities of it. You're not a U.S. citizen, if I'm assuming a legal immigration standpoint. So I don't think the laws apply to legal immigrants, but I don't think it's right. There's no happy medium, and that's a little irksome to say the least. So I can't give like a black or white answer to that one.
Yes, I think so.